And we start off with local news. New York City has announced new funding to combat illegal dumping, bringing cameras into play. Our Bronx reporter, Brittany Schuyler Albane, has the story.
In the Hunt Point section of the Bronx, Councilmember Rafael Salamanca was joined by Department of Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch, members of Community Board 2, and residents of Hunt Point to announce funding for illegal dumping surveillance cameras. Councilmember Salamanca has allocated $180,000 to install 15 high-definition cameras throughout the community.
The announcement is $180,000 in FY22 that we've allocated, 15 high-definition cameras with license plate reader capacity. The Department of Sanitation will provide manpower to monitor and investigate these cases.
As Mayor Eric Adams fights to clean up unsanitary neighborhoods, Councilmember Salamanca is working to do the same for the 17th District.
As we know, that illegal dumping in the South Bronx and in my district has been an issue for decades, especially in the industrial parts of my district.
Currently, 9 out of the 15 cameras have been installed. The installation will help curb the influx of commercial and residential littering throughout the South Bronx, which, as Salamanca mentions, has been a major issue for decades and is punishable by a $4,000 fine, vehicle impoundment, and even jail time. The cameras have the capacity to locate license plate numbers for further investigation. Since the installment of these cameras, the number of summons given and vehicles impounded has doubled.
The world has changed for you. The New York City Sanitation Department is going to catch you. And when we catch you, you can be locked up, you will get a $4,000 summons, and your vehicle will be impounded. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Councilmember Salamanca hopes with this allocation, residents of the neighborhood will see a decrease in trash throughout the area, leading to a cleaner, safer, and healthier community. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler Albane.
And thank you, Brittany. And in other news, Bronx residents are puzzled about the new Mta Bus redesign. Our Bronx reporter Sanji Lopez was on the story, and she has the details right now.
These seniors from Patterson Projects are puzzled about the new Mta bus redesign in the Bronx, which eliminated their local bus stop here on East 143rd Street and Morris Avenue.
The nearest bus stop now is 149th Street, which is 6 blocks away from here. And the next nearest one is 140th Street. It's only 3 blocks away, but as you can see, these are really long blocks.
The preliminary Mta bus redesign project recently changed 13 Bronx bus routes and launched 2 new routes. According to the MTA, the project goal was to improve Bronx bus riders' commutes and provide better service.
We haven't looked at these routes in over a decade, and this was an opportunity to make the changes that our customers were asking for, specifically streamlining service so that we could deliver faster, more efficient bus service to all Bronx residents. We have seen that since the redesign, we have improved bus times across the board of a minimum of 5%.
But community members say one thing was missing from this plan.
The accessibility wasn't part of the plan. We have a lot of seniors in our community that if they were included in this plan and they were engaged in the plan, they would have known that this wasn't the bus stop to take away.
Accessibility is very near and dear to me as a New Yorker with a disability myself who uses a wheelchair to get around. So I understand firsthand how important it is to deliver an accessible system for all our residents, but particularly for our New Yorkers with disabilities. In some instances, that means we have to bring back bus stops to some areas that we removed them.
We know that the MTA is also collecting testimony from community members. What will the MTA do with this collected testimony moving forward?
Well, the first point that I'd like to make is that the engagement will be continuing. We are now querying our customers on a monthly basis, monthly surveys, so that we can hear from them firsthand how they're engaging with all of our systems and how these redesigns are working for them. We will continue to collect these feedbacks and ultimately continue to make changes as we see fit.
Next thing you know, people waiting for the bus and the bus ride right by. So, they got to do better. Stop making these decisions for us.
If you'd like to submit feedback on the MTA's bus redesign plan, you may do so by visiting tinyurl.com/bxbusfeedback. Reporting for BronxNet, Sanji Lopez.
And thank you, Sanji. We go back to other news. South Bronx community members are fighting for access to the Mott Haven Port Morris waterfront. We bring you back to Brittany Schuyler Albane, who gives us more of these details.
In the South Bronx, community members are fighting for access to the Mott Haven Port Morris waterfront. The Harlem River runs right past the port, but construction and lack of resources mean community members are not allowed entrance to the waterfront. After countless pleas to elected officials, residents are taking matters into their own hands and shedding light on the environmental injustice.
We have had our own waterfront access plan because the community elected leaders keep failing us systematically or don't act with the urgency that we need.
South Bronx Unite held its annual City of Water Day in partnership with the Waterfront Alliance. Throughout the day, attendees were invited to participate in art activities, food, an open mic, and even a tour to see the bare waterfront. Community members were disgusted with the lack of accessibility to the port in order to make room for new housing units that will put lower income residents at a significant disadvantage. One attendee mentioned a recent incident in which children were jumping off of the rocks to spend time in the water and emphasized that this lack of accessibility could lead to severe consequences.
We really want this land back. We want this to be really part of the public trust doctrine, where public land like this has to be reserved for the public good.
SBU members like co-founder Moncho Lopez equate water to their culture. Lopez grew up in Puerto Rico, where he was always surrounded by water. The lack of accessibility now saddens him.
Someone like me, I was born in Puerto Rico, so the water it's really, really important for me. These are islands. The Bronx is not an island, but most of New York City is. And so water has been like a vital element for the communities.
Without this waterfront, community members could expect a rise in poor health outcomes and an increase in deteriorating public spaces. To get involved in this initiative, follow the link below. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler Albane.
And thank you, Brittany. That is all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We encourage you to stay connected to us because guess what? We got more open coming up right after this.